There's a meme on the internet about Jerome Powell, the CEO of Federal Reserve. So basically, it's like the RBI of US, right? So there's a meme that says whenever he starts speaking, the markets will start to fall, and we have seen exactly the same thing happen again today. So this is a Nifty chart which I showed in my yesterday's video, right? So we mentioned that there were multiple support zones which were broken by the end of the day, and today it gave absolutely no option for traders to enter and take some make some money out of it, because as you can see, if I just go into a 5 minutes chart, this is what happened after it opened with a huge gap up, an extremely sideways market. And this is something that we notice in the market a lot, especially after a major event like Fed Reserves, be it our GST Council meetings or RBI monetary policy meeting. We notice the same thing happening. That is basically whenever market knows what is coming, it will not react to it. But clearly a negative news today, so it has opened with a gap up, and then again a very flat day, because market is very proactive. What it means is that whatever that you think is going to happen, market will have already rationalized those things, and it will have effect on it before it actually happens. So that's what we see in the market today as well, a very sideways market. Absolutely nothing happened today, be it indices as a whole, or even bank nifty, or in any stock. Basically there were a very sideways market. So next up we have bank nifties. Even I've basically mentioning this from past few days, past few weeks actually. We have an all-time high and then multiple resistance at the top, but market is not at all going and testing those. It's coming down and down, and it has broken all the supports that we can mark. But today it took a support from here, but not a major support, guys, clearly. But what is actually a very technical thing that I can teach you guys in this video, is when bank nifty hit this particular zone, this is called as a gap filling strategy, where market, whenever it makes a gap, it will come back to fill it. And the same thing we're able to notice in today's market as well. But if I myself, when I'm trading tomorrow, what I'll be hoping for is in nifty, basically the zone that it has made today, right? The horizontal zone for both bank nifty and nifty, this is what I myself will be focusing on, because clearly a one-sided momentum might come if it breaks these levels. And next off, the major news of the day is basically FII data. The whole market is actually driven by what is going on in the US economy and US investors. We have already mentioned in many of our previous videos that FII sell a lot in the month of December, but not this much. But clearly, this is a concerning issue for Indian investors as well. If they keep putting the money and foreigners just keep taking out book profit on it, clearly that's not a good thing. And clearly we notice that negativity, bearishness in the market. And the major bearishness is coming from the US Fed meeting, so which is headed by Jerome Powell, that I previously just mentioned. He mentioned that in 2025, that is in the coming year, there will be very less interest rate cut. So interest rate cut is a very important thing for the market. That means when the borrowing for these companies in the stock market will be less. For example, let's say the interest rate is 6 or 7%. If the US Fed will decrease that, it will be easy for companies to borrow more money and hire more people and make more expansions. So clearly that's how interest rate cut works. Since Jerome Powell today mentioned that there will be less interest rate cuts in the coming year, that means that market obviously will have to pay more interest. So clearly that's a bad news. So you notice that the market fell a lot. And then the second major news was he mentioned that this year we have supported the entire economy by making some major rate cuts, and in the next year we want to see inflation itself showing results, inflation decreasing and the overall market going up, not through the manual intervention. That's what he meant in today's meeting. So that's why we noticed a little bit of bearishness, because if there was more interest cut in 2025, clearly market would clearly go up again. So that's not how they want to handle the economy at the moment. So as you can see, we also have FIIs, that is foreign investors, who are withdrawing a lot of money. But then we have DII who are supporting the market, that is domestic institutional investors. They have invested a whooping 5 lakh crores for the first time this year. So since it is year end, we'll notice a lot of these data come out, which will tell us how the year of 2024 went as from stock market perspective. And clearly this is one of the most interesting data that I've seen. We have seen some 2 lakh 75,000 crores being invested in 2022, but this year it is almost doubled. right? Compared to last year, to almost tripled. So clearly, that's a great news. There are a lot of retail investors who are putting money through, mutual funds and SIPs. So clearly, we can see them supporting the market. And next off, we also have Indian rupee. On the other hand, is hitting new lows every day. Today is the lowest that it has recorded of 85.07. So clearly, that is coming after the US Fed meeting, because they're not increasing the interest rate cut. Again, a bad news for the forex economy as well. So clearly, we notice that in the Indian rupee and USD as well. And next off, we have another tad bit of highlight from 2024. That is, Reliance Industries has given a negative return for the first time in the last 10 years. So imagine that. Even though the market has rallied a lot, not Reliance, they've taken a bit of a, even fundamentally, they have taken a bit of a stable defensive stance in their growth strategy as well. So clearly, we can see the same happening in the stock prices as well. So next up, we have SpiceJet. In a very boring market, SpiceJet has been one of the top gaining performer. Went up by 7% because they had an ongoing settlement dispute with a company called Genesis for about $16 million. And here I have the chart of SpiceJet as well. A very big candle after such a sideways market for few months, I would say. But we can even clearly see the volume bar spice up. Clearly more investors are entering into the stock. So next up, we have a great news about Ipca Labs. So clearly, the whole pharmaceutical industry has been very nice. It's performing very well. And next off, in the next slide, actually have included the same news, because there's a very good news from pharma sector. There are multiple domestic and foreign brokerage companies giving very good outlook on the pharma industry. They mentioned that there's a lot of growth that can be extracted out of pharma industry in the coming year 2025, and they've given buy rating on many of these stocks. So what happens, all these people and funds who follow these institutional investors, they try to enter into those stocks. So clearly, this is good news. And not only fundamentally, even technically, all the charts are good. If you look at it, Dr. Reddy Labs up 4% today. Ipca Labs up 5%. Torrent Pharmaceuticals up 2%. Lupin is also up by 3%.